control initialized.
What's up, guys? It's Black and back with some more Combined Arms content. We are in round 3 of this tournament, and I think there is no more easy games, if indeed there ever was, where you're going to have Inno, who has played, I think, 13 games at this rate and dropped only 2, so he is looking super strong. Looks like he's going to be the UK in his traditional color, I guess maybe England. And down here in the bottom right, it is going to be Hyper playing as Harbinger. Hyper has dropped a few games more than Inno, but he's also taken down some big name players, namely Who Cares and Legato. So this is going to be a tight, anticipated game series right now, right here on the Ruined Kingdom. 2 old Erics right here, 2 old Erics right here. The premier rush map of this tournament, I feel like. It's super close spawns. You can almost see those MCVs touching each other. And Inno being very light on some infantry right now, going double engineer really early. Hyper being super aggressive right now, pumping out all those warriors straight across the map. And Inno's just got one rifle scout down to the bottom, maybe trying to pick off an engineer. But as it stands, it looks like Hyper is just going to get a snipe on some of these rifles. I think Inno will have enough here, and I think he is indeed building that pillbox as well. So he's going to get his first oil there nice and easily. And Hyper has not gone for an engineer yet. This is kind of weird. He is doing some very early pressure. Almost looks like an all-in. Looks like he is. Oh no, he's gonna run that engineer away for now. I mean, he can safely get in there. Also, he's got a pretty decent army back here, but Hyper has quite a big army as well. But he gets forced off that oil derrick. I mean, I'm pretty sure, he can still see that there's one warrior there. He sees a bunch more. But I think Hyper, just with a little bit more density there and just right timing on the move command, is going to clean up a bunch of Inno's army. Same time, Hyper still does not have an old Derrick, and that could be a problem. Inno going to go ahead and secure the second old Derrick. I mean, if anything, it's just getting that $300 refund, which is super nice. Some disintegrators coming out as well, and still no old Derrick capture. I mean, you got to get those old Derricks captured. They're super close. At the same time, he just really wants this early pressure, which, it's not bad. He's going to burn down this other old Derrick as well. On the back side of this, you can see that Hyper is up to 2 Raxes, so he's doing like a double Rax into, or double ref into double Rax, which is kind of crazy because he's just not going to be able to afford that. This gem harvester is going to like eat this up in basically 2 more, and then you'll have like these last level 2 patches there. And then he's going to have to place down a 3rd ref. But no, he's going for a war factor. I think that is just a little too much expenditure this early in the game on 2 harvesters. That's going to be really rough. He can't really afford to push in here. A pillbox will absolutely wreck this composition. There is not enough disintegrators to burn through that. Also has a little bit of army as well, so. But Hyper's gonna try. Down goes the pillbox. And yeah, that instantly gets cleaned up. Doesn't do anything, but just loses a good chunk of his army down there. He's even getting a few more chipped off as he runs. And then, of course, there's a random rifle in your back line. Luckily, nothing goes down there. But yeah, the lack of old Derricks is really going to make this that much harder. I'm surprised that he's actually not quite stalling yet. It's like he's just building from the 1 Rax, which is probably why. So again, what has this Rax really done if you haven't really pumped out a lot of infantry? It's just been slowing down your build queue, no war factory, which is making you have that much less armor, or less heavy armor I should say, because that's probably what you want in this scenario. Gunwalkers would be great, but this composition, pretty good. Interlopers, I think in this situation, probably what you want. Inno is going to see that there is an attack here too, so Hyper's got a really good concave here, but there is a Mirage tank coming out, trying to go for the crushes, not getting much, but there's only 2 disintegrators, and that is just forcing Hyper to try to micro out these rifles. Eventually he's going to get it with the Mirage tank going down, but again, he just loses so much there. 45 to 59, 62 now. That's not terrible, but I mean, his army value, you can see right there, it was dipped down to 900. Economy wise, he's still on 2 harvesters. His income from it is 350, and it looks like he did finally go for those engineers. Unfortunately, did not scout, and one of those engineers gets caught. So Hyper is in dire straits here, going for triple F finally, and then moving out, which is a great decision there. I like that. But I think actually maybe going for a harvester here instead of an interloper would be good. He really needs to step up his eco. He's going to be stalling for quite a while. You're going to see the stark difference there in just assets and the income itself. I mean, earned is also looking pretty bad there, but this game's not over. There's still plenty more to do. It just has to slow down a little bit. Mirage tank down here for Inno would be very interesting if Hyper expanded this way, and I could actually see it, but as it stands, I don't think that Mirage tank is going to do much of anything. Maybe find some harvester pokes out of here, but Hyper should be more than capable of defending against a single barrage tank. On the other hand, he's up to double racks as well and got artillery out, so kind of expecting the scrim play, I assume, which is heavily infantry based. I mean, artillery are not super great at like killing stuff. I feel like you need 2 or 3 of them to really like shine. Kind of just make infantry be like yellow health or red health. But once you get 2 or 3 of them, then you can get those one shots on infantry, which make all the difference there. You can see that Inno has not gone for his gems as well, which again, I've said it before, but I think that is a trap. He's also up to tier 2, getting that advanced power plant. I assume that's going to be an airfield coming out next, as soon as he wants to place it. Not quite. I hear another Mirage tank, so he's sticking heavy with the Mirage tanks, which is quite interesting. They're not really good at armor. Certainly worse than a medium tank, but I think they're a little bit better than a scout tank. Kills the oil there, and then he's going to capture it with an engineer, which is nice. And Inno is going to pump in, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Inno does not have a whole lot of rockets here. But one of those interlopers dangerously close to go down. This one looks like it is going to get sacrificed on an attack move there. So it's another nice engagement from Inno. Now he's poking in with that harvester, but looks like Hyper already aware of it. Sending one interloper down. That should be more than enough to deal with it, especially with that harvester tanking for him. Yeah, this engagement could be pretty good for Hyper, but this wall is actually being a big problem here. One artillery nestled in the back, and Inno does take that engagement there, just with the more mass, I think. These interlopers being a little bit of a problem, just not being in the front. And now Inno is pressuring pretty hard here. I think Hyper can hold, but it is going to be dangerous close. And he cannot waste his armor like he's doing. He needs his infantry in front. Lucky for him, the Mirage tanks are kind of in the middle, but without any armor, Hyper goes in and calls it GG, so a little rough there in game 1. Just overly, stupidly aggressive. Early attack did not go well. Didn't even get that old there to the middle. I guess he got that one on the backside, but yeah, not getting these was definitely slowing down his eco. He stayed a little bit too long on those 2 harvesters, and that definitely made a difference there. I'm sure if I take a look at the earnings graph, it tells the story. Yeah, he's just basically behind that entire time, so the army value graph didn't even look that much bigger for him anyways, and I think this was the attack probably about right here. We lost a bunch, so Hyper just making a decision there didn't work out, but we'll have to be back for game 2, see if we can do it then.
Battle control initialized.
Alright, we are back here for game 2. Hyper has once again picked Harbinger, and Inno has randomed into any Soviets, so he's going to have Russia. We're on Onyx. I think we've seen this map more than enough. Pretty juicy starting mine here. This is probably your natural expansion. Lots of oil derricks on here. Kind of want to capture this one if you can, if you're Hyper, just because it's easier to control. If you don't capture it and your opponent captures it, then you can just easily kill it off. But it makes it a little bit more easier to go for this one if you're Hyper first, obviously, because it's the path makes it directly there for you. So I also got this oil derrick nicely neat in the back. See that we have some Grenadiers coming out for Inno. I'm assuming they're gonna get rallied, yeah, all the way to the backside right there. Hyper, on the other hand, he's just gonna push out some words in the middle. Classic stuff there. Not sending an engineer up there quite yet. I mean, I think the only thing that could get there is a dog, and that would be like very hard to do. So very interesting again that he's delaying those engineers. I figure you want those extra macro. Getting that engineer, get that $300 refund, so it basically comes out to a warrior. Makes it that much more like effective. I think you can pump out a little bit more warriors that way rather than playing all this. Like, sure, you might get war position here going with early warriors, but there's so much little stuff in the early game, like dogs and everything, that makes getting off those rifles earlier, the warriors in this case, just a little less effective than it could be. One rifle going down there, and then they trade, and this warrior gonna get down by a conga line of infantry, so I do like that Hyper is balling in the middle. That makes it pretty easy to control this part. And he does have an engineer in there, but there is 2 rifles there. That is kind of scary. Now the Grenadiers are going to go in, and there is nothing being built but another engineer, so this could be a really, really bad time. He's definitely going to find a power plant, and this power plant is not going to last long at all. Basically halfway down. Oh, and he places another power plant right next to the Grenadiers. Does get the sell off, so we'll get the warriors out, which is nice. I think this power plant actually, it's going to be very close. It might go down. Oh, if this Grenadier had started earlier, but maybe it just needs 2 more. Nope, it goes down, but that is still going to put Hyper dangerously low power. Warriors goes down there, and I think the engineer, nope, looks like it didn't get sniped, but it was contested. I think the 2 rifles there did get scared away. And this Wolf deck's still not captured by Hyper. Maybe he did lose an engineer, I'm not quite sure. I guess a good look there. Hard to tell exactly. 800 loss. I'm assuming that he's losing an engineer, and this was the second one, but I think he's actually going to lose this engineer again. If it goes down, yes, he loses a second engineer there, or maybe his first, but still, that is very rough. Once again, having 0 oil derricks and spent a lot of money for him. So, you know, once again, in a strong position here. The only difference is that Hyper has a lot of infantry out, and, you know, oh, no, he has the BTR now, so this is going to be pretty dangerous as well. If there is no disintegrators coming, so yeah, this entire army could be under threat real easily just by a few BTRs. Let's see if Inno is building another one. Nope, he's going into harvesters. Makes sense, you gotta support your eco. He's gonna be up to 3 harvesters in just a second here. Inno also kind of slow on his war factory, but again, that makes sense with the loss of power that he had. So basically, Inno is gonna have a harvester and an entire BTR ahead of Hyper. He's going to build a secret tank too, which is interesting, so I'm assuming he's going to harass. See another engineer coming out here. It's going to try to get this one. Shouldn't have any problem this time. He's also probably going to kill that old Derrick unless that BTR is anywhere around. But again, no disintegrators here, and now the BTR is in play. So this army is going to get forced back. Probably going to lose just a few. A few disintegrators are coming, but 2 disintegrators is very easy just to micro out with a BTR, so as it stands right now, he's just losing a few rifle scouts. Oh, and this BTR sniffing out the engineer, but just barely missing it. Hyper gets very lucky there. Well, they're got a little bit left. Yeah, he's got some secret tanks coming out here. Looks like 3. Can I see 4? Nope, just 3 of them. So that's a decent hard hunting party. Expect them to come to this backside over here. You know, definitely looking comfortably ahead in this game. He's even got a Katusha out. Expands to the bottom, which is kind of weird. And he gets the second barracks out before ref there, so very expensive, but he's gonna start exploding in infantry value just a second. And this is gonna be kind of tough for Hyper. He's definitely behind the ball here, and unfortunately these Seekers going into the MCV pathing and revealing themselves, that is unfortunate for him. I mean, he's got a chance if he just kind of goes somewhere else, but he's gonna die of him right now. Probably lose at least one of these Seekers. Oh, actually gets lucky that all 3 of those are going to get away. Just a bunch of not stuff, or stuff that's not good at light armor, attacking those Seekers. I also like this from Inno, instantly pulling that harvester off. Smart. Hyper is going to poke at these refs, but he really just needs to send these away for now. They're not going to kill much. Inno is very aware of it. It's pretty easy to defend with just what he has there. What does Hyper got going on the backside of this? He's up to tier 2, which is nice, and he looks like he has expanded, so still trying to harass these with the Seekers. I mean, if Inno didn't have anything there, it could be good, but Heavy Tank kills 1 Seeker. These 2 Seekers going to run into a bunch of rifles, and they're going to go down. And now there is just 1, so I get what Hyper's trying to do. He's trying to, you know, just apply pressure, but at some point you got to be wary that your opponent knows what you're trying to do, and he's just leaving units there, and it's going to be up to you to make the mistake. But he finally gets the Seeker out, and if he just leaves it there, I think that'll be good. I mean, he's poked some damage there, but that's fine. Looks like this old Derrick is barely standing, and I think that's actually providing vision. Nope, just not enough. You know, just outside of his range. So Hyper should definitely kill that. You know, it's just free money, but once again, he is poking, and I see that Inno has a big army here, and where is Hyper's army? It is kind of out of position, and is a lot smaller. 9,000 to 1,700, so basically 2 to 1. I'm not sure how Hyper can deal with this. Maybe if he kills the Katusha first, but he can't lose that Corruptor. That Corruptor is his linchpin here. If it goes down, he's going to have a whole bunch of problems. But Inno is just slowly pushing forward, getting those tanks in position, which I like. And another engineer going down. That is some good anti-engineer play from Inno there. Looks like that Seeker, oh, just barely getting away. Like 1% health left. Here we go. This is probably going to be the deciding engagement. 2 Corruptors here, so that is nice, but Hyper is kind of light on armor. Katusha getting some splash in. Now the Corruptors are going to go to work. You can see how quickly they deal with infantry, so this is going pretty good for Hyper. Just needs to get this ball of infantry dead, and they are. Now he needs to focus on these heavy tanks. It just doesn't have a whole lot of disintegrators. There's a lot there, but they're kind of slow far behind. One of those Corruptors going down. Oh, and Katusha finally getting some kills there, but a bunch of that infantry is super red. And now the tank is in the back. And Hyper is running out of steam here, but he does have one corruptor left still. Just getting a bunch of rockets there. And getting even more with a splash there, but that was about as well as it could go, and Hyper is still down an insane amount of army value. 1,200 to 3,000. It's basically 4-1. That is a little rough, and yes, I expect the Inno airfield to be out, and it is indeed. And there is the first Hind, so that is going to be even more difficult for Hyper to come back. He's going to have to transition into Gunwalkers, which isn't a bad idea, but you know, it's not exactly what you want. Ooh, he has Storm Rider out too, which could be good, I guess. But he has to be very careful here. That army is somewhat scary, but most of the rockets getting sniped out there, which is nice. Takes a little bit more damage there. Hooks out the last rocket, there you go. And focuses out the flamethrowers there, which I like. And I can run that back, but yeah, he doesn't have much to do with his 2 plasma cannons. I mean, maybe they are pretty strong, but I just don't think it's gonna be enough. He starts with the split up here. Although, you know, runs his army back to the middle. Luckily, Hyper is pulling his army up to the middle, or up to the top there, so this could be good. Ooh, and another War Effect out for Inno. He is producing like a madman. Can he even afford it? No, he's stalling, so that's actually kind of bad. You know, you got to be careful of overproducing. It can quickly make all your queues just run out. It's better to have a little float than no float. I hear a rifle going somewhere. Ah, it's flank up here. So probably just going to get that old Eric. Nothing too big there. And Inno is slowly pushing in here. So V2s would be great, just to deal with these defenses. And yeah, his MCV going up to the middle now, controlling that middle tip field. Old Eric going to go down. Oh, and the Harvester quickly going down there. Not great. Storm Rider tries to come in, but it goes down. This one's still alive with most of its ammo. Hyper has teched up tier 3. Mastermind could be a way back into this game. There is V2s, just as I was talking about them. I'm just going to clear those defenses before anything. And there is a heavy tank poking down a Harvester here in the back. Not super effective for Rasp, but if Hyper is not paying attention, they can definitely kill one. Does pull the Harvester off. Have to see what this is coming out. Is going to be an interloper, so not terrible. There is one defense down. Hyper is pulling all of his army just to the back. Hopefully shouldn't be sending it back for 1B or a heavy tank. And heavy tank is going to go down with one more shot. One more shot. And there we go. The Harvester gonna go instantly back to work, which I like, but yeah. Hyper is definitely pinned here. You know, it's just been unharassed this entire time, at least economically. Those Seekers early in the game not doing much. We're finally going down here. Not super important, but no, he has left a spot open for his V2s. Storm Rider taking a little bit of damage, but does get one V2, which is nice. And a few rifles there might actually get that power plant. Yeah, they are going to get it. Ooh, Buzzer Sword comes down. That is great. And the V2s have wasted their shots. That is about as good as a Buzzer Swarm as you could possibly get. In fact, you know, he's not moving his army, and it gets a bunch more stuff. And I think with that, Hyper feels bold enough to push out, but he has to be careful. There is 3 Hinds and not a whole lot of anti-air there. And yeah, those Hinds just deleting everything. Loses 2 of them, but with the Rhino transition here, still V2s in a healthy infantry core. Hyper is pushed back. Here, another heavy tank in the back there, but hello, Mastermind, that's nice. Probably actually wants it up here, though. And it's looking bleaker and bleaker. Oh, attack up here. Did get a Harvester. And those rifles still not dealt with. Getting another power plant. Mastermind will eventually clean that up, I think. Mindspark gonna deal with the rest of them, but oof. Inno is multi-prawning like a madman here, and Hyper is getting picked apart. At the same time, Inno has just been dropping rough and expanding, so I'm sure his economy is finally looking good. 7 Harvesters over 3. That is very rough, and the refinery going down again. So what does Hyper do to get back to this? I mean, he's got the Mastermind, so he's kind of in a position where he needs to make an all-out attack. He just doesn't have the assets he really wants, I don't think. Although sending this heavy tank in, getting the Mind Spark off could be good, and then trying to steal away those Rhino tanks. I think that's his only option here, because he is stalling on $1 for quite a while now. There you go. He is going to try to get that Rhino, and he does, which is great, and he just plays the Mind Spark there. I like that as well. Probably can steal that one, but it looks like he's just going to kill it. And he's gonna have a big attack here, but again, the army values are actually not that difference. She's gonna have to be very close. Oh, and Hind finds a good angle on that mastermind and it goes down. That's probably gonna be it. This attack without that mastermind doesn't have the ability that it needs, I don't think. Hyper pushes back. You know, he's still not quite dead yet. Army values are looking a little bleak again. Economy looking very bleak for him. Income is 4,000 over 1,100. That is kind of crazy. Oh, and a paradrop here. Probably gonna get a harvester. Transitioning into another tripods. I don't know about that. I get why he's doing it, but these two rifles, man, they've killed at least 2 power plants now, and it was just like a second night of them. These shock troopers getting the harvester, focusing on the ref now. Sending the annihilator tripod up there, not the best, but it will do. Stormrider's much better, but he forces them back. No, why does he see the attack down here? I think he did, but there's also an attack in his main. Yeah, you know, just with the splits, it's just too much for Hyper to handle. Not with him being as far behind as he is. And I don't think there's anything he can do about this engagement. Parabombs coming in for good measure as well. Where are they coming from? The backside. Basically perfect parabombs. Get dropped almost onto the mastermind. Mastermind's going to try his best here. He's using the Mind Spark, which is great. He's actually making a big difference, but yeah, he's going to lose his colony platform during this time, so I think that is basically it, and there is the GG. So, Inno playing 15 games now and have only lost 2 is looking scary strong. It is going to be him into the next round. Hyper is going to go down to that lower bracket where he will have a chance of redemption, but we will get there when we get there. And that is going to be it for this week, and I will see you all next time.